Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday here in Boulder, and we're doing our second recording for ShonaBanda.com. Today, I've actually got Shona in front of the microphone. We're going to answer a couple questions that she's been getting on her Facebook page. So let's go ahead and see what the first one is. What are they asking questions about?
Well, right now we've got one from Dean, and he says, do you consider the oil made by your method to be the same as Rick Simpson's? And if not, what are the differences and the different applications? Well, that's kind of a tough one. There's so many different kinds of methods to make the oil, and Rick uses naphtha, which is a solvent. And I've made oil with naphtha and with Everclear, which is a grain alcohol. And the differences is the way that it's extracted. The grain alcohol method actually produces very high psychoactive effects. Rick's method with the naphtha is not as psychoactive, but it's still pretty potent. But the oil that you get from the vaporizer is a very slow heat extraction. There is no solvent used. And for some reason, you just don't feel much psychoactive effects at all. You really only notice that you're feeling better after a couple of days of taking it. So there's a lot of people out there that I still, when I consult them on taking the vaporized oil, to also learn how to smoke, to control your pain and nausea, depression, all those good things that come along with sickness.
What I can say about it, as far as the differences go, when I first saw Shona's extraction method, it's it's the heat extraction method using the little globe vaporizer, and you get a very small amount of film that you kind of scrape off and put into a capsule. With Rick's method, you get much more oil. See, the main difference and benefit to using Rick's method with naphtha or using a variation of Rick's method with something like Everclear is the quantity you get. You have to put a lot more in, of course, but you get a lot more out of it. That is the main difference. When I first started looking into the oil, when I was filming the documentary and first talking to Shona, I was getting tripped up on the methods. I thought there was like these huge chasms between them and the differences and stuff, and really it's just the difference between using an electric juicer or using a manual juicer to get your orange juice. I mean, they're just different methods. One works differently and gives you more. There's benefits and pros and cons to both of them. Of course, the pros to Shauna's method is it's a lot quicker. It's just a whole lot safer, and you get your result right then and there. However, the cons, of course, being you have to do it every time you need a capsule, you need to do it. Really, the main differences are going to affect you in what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to medicate yourself, or are you trying to medicate an army? And most people are just trying to get themselves by right now. And that necessity is what bred this method from Shona. And that's why it is so different and simple. Do you consider the oil same as Rick Simpson's? As far as my answer to that question, the treatment value seems to be pretty consistent across the board with all kinds of oils. The only differences you're going to get are not really from the methods you use, but from the product that you're using to get the oil.
Right.
Is there another question?
Yep, there is another question. He says, I have a friend that just found out that his Pomeranian dog has thyroid cancer.
Oh, no.
Does this oil, does this oil work on other mammals, and is there evidence that it might work for this condition?
So he's asking...
If it works on other mammals. Yeah, it works on every mammal in the planet.
And on the planet.
Yeah, and on the planet. So yeah, it works. Every single mammal has an endocannabinoid system that works with this plant. You have to understand that every single plant on Earth has cannabinoids, and that the cannabis plant just has the most and is the most abundant. And if you think about, even with dogs, all our food has become filler, and essentially, they take anything natural out, sterilize it, and then put in, I want to say fake vitamins to replace that. So we're all just eating filler. They do it with dog food too, on generic dog food. A lot of people won't buy generic dog food because it's full of a lot of fillers.
Well, what would you, how would you recommend, I mean, if it was your dog, because that's all we can really say, if it was your dog, how would you deliver the oil?
I would do it in the same way. I would absolutely recommend the vaporized method because there's,
Well, would you like apply it? Would you have the dog ingest it?
Well, I always gave my dogs I'd stick a pill in a hot dog, and they knew no different, and it was great. So that's what I would do.
Okay. Do we have another question?
Let's see. He also wants to know if it works on boils, and a woman has answered that already, saying yes, it works great on any kind of skin infection, including boils, and yes, it does. I don't even think I put down in the book that I had, I can't even remember the shingles. It was a condition very similar to shingles on my back, and once I started on the oil, it really took it away very quickly. And I also had a boil. I think I explained that one in the end of my book. I had a boil the size of a quarter on my face because I had
goodness.
such a bad infection, and it's totally gone now. You can't even tell. So absolutely, it helps. Let's see.
Let's see here. We've got one from Shona. Have you tried to moisten the cannabis before you put it in the vaporizer? Maybe it would make for easier scraping, or a drop or two of water on each bowl. Also, when the globe gets filmed over, how to extract what is baked on. Let's take these one question at a time. Have you ever tried using anything to make it easier to get the oil off of the vaporizer?
No, actually, because I've just through trial and error. It does take a whole hour to make each pill, and so in order to having to sit there for an hour each day doing it, I'll pick a day and I'll just turn it on, and I'll make a bunch of pills in one day, and so that'll last me the whole week. So you're almost guaranteed, if you don't have an egg timer, to burn it at least once or twice. So when that happens is when you burn it, you try to scrape it off and it's really stuck to that glass. Well, if you just throw another bowl in there and turn it on again, you're going to get double the next time around, but it will come off the next time around. The wetter and stickier the weed is, it does produce more oil. So that does make sense on maybe even trying a drop of water at the bottom of the bowl when you put it in. I'm not sure.
I know I can say, hearing Sean answer similar questions like this, you want to prime your glass vaporizer dome by kind of, you've mentioned heating it before, when you first get it and before you use it, to get it hot enough to really get the stuff off.
Well, it's not really so that it's hot enough. It's the first, on a very clean glass, the first one or two bowls on a clean glass, it's really hard to get the amount that you want out.
By clean, you mean brand new?
Brand new.
Okay.
Brand new. And so it'll take one or two and sometimes three bowls in order for you to get almost the hang of it, and then you'll start getting more oil. the more time you do it. And it just really does take practice. You have to know your machine and play with it.
So let's say a drop or two. Also, when the globe gets filmed over how to extract what is baked on without discarding it. Like she said, go ahead and just do another bowl and you'll get twice as much the next time and it will come off. Hope I made some sense.
Oh, also, if I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no.
But if you're doing it like all day long and you're making a whole bunch of oil, you will get an accumulation at the top, and you'll get to where you want to clean it, and you can actually take some Everclear or something to that nature and reuse it. You stick it in there and you clean out your globe and swish it around for a minute, throw it into a little tincture bottle, and keep using that same stuff to clean it out, and then that way you've got something to use for, to put into your lotion for topicals to make your joints feel better, all kinds of different things.
And
Waste nothing.
yeah, you can, like she said, you can clean it out with the Everclear. And of course, it goes without saying, please do make sure that your glass dome has cooled down before you attempt doing anything like that. I just like to make sure that we put those little disclaimers in for everybody. I don't know. I hope you guys don't think that I think you're silly. I just have to say stuff like that. I'm sorry. Okay, so we got another Mary Meds. You're amazing. Question: what happens to the oil or other extract when it is mixed or diluted with infused coconut oil? Okay, so that's the first question there.
Well, it's been in my experience that anyone trying to diffuse or mix or dilute the oil with anything else, it doesn't have the same kind of results for some reason.
Please go to part 2.